Hello and welcome to another CAD clip. We're talking about AutoCAD 2007 3D, and we're continuing our way along here, and we're talking about the new press pull command, which is super awesome, and one of the many tools that have showed up in our AutoCAD 2007 really makes using 3D and teaching it, in my case, a real dream. So I'm just going to go to a diagonal isometric view, and I've got some basic primitive shapes in here that I've used these tools up over here to create some of these. And then from my previous lesson, I've extruded a rectangle and extruded another rectangle, and I should have tapered that. You can taper that circle being given a thickness, and just some samples of when we go to use our press pull, and don't get it mixed up with extrude, similar but not quite the same, the press pull tool. And we've got a new object here, some planar surfaces that we're going to create, and this is a polyline that we're going to turn into a planar surface. So I'm just going to take a look at my notes here. First of all, use grips to stretch if you can. And what I'm talking about here is we have some primitive objects over here. As long as we don't press pull them or extrude them, we can use our grips here to stretch the shapes of these quite easily in 2D or in 3D. So I can go back while this is still a wedge, and I can click on here and do all kinds of neat stuff and whatever is available with that particular primitive object. Okay, or even something that's been extruded. Okay, this has been extruded. Grip on here and you can stretch this stuff around. We have different shapes. We have a polysolid. We can do different things with a polysolid. Once we go in and use our press pull, you'll notice that if I list this, it lists as a 3D solid. If I list this, it's a 3D solid, and it's called a wedge. Okay, we saw this in the previous one, 3D solid, and it's a sweep. Okay, just take note of that. Okay, if I list this, it's a 3D solid and it's just an extrusion. Okay, we're going to see something else in a minute. Again, we list this, it's a pyramid, and it is a 3D solid. Okay, so now when we go to do our press pull, okay, first thing is use the grips as indicated, you know, to as much as you can before you go in and start press pulling, because once you press pull, you'll lose the control and the grips of that primitive object. Okay, turn on selection preview when you're doing your press pull. Okay, so when you do your press pull, you'll notice that if you go down inside of here and you start your command, you're going to hover over these edges. Well, if you don't have selection preview turned on in your options under selection, then these edges won't preview, and sometimes you might have to swivel around with the shift middle mouse button to get that other side. If you can't get the side you want, shift middle mouse button will let you swivel around and grab the sides you want. I'm still in the middle of my press pull command. I started the command, and then shift middle mouse button allows me to transparently move around my object and zoom in and out with the wheel while still remaining in that command. Okay, so that's just a couple of notes before we get started. Okay, so turn on selection preview in your options. Things that can be press pulled, okay, faces and stuff. Any area or flat area, it has to be a flat area that can be hatched by using the pick point option with the 0 gap tolerance, can be press pulled. Okay, so if you can hatch it by using the pick point option, okay, you know, when you go in and hatch, if I can say, you know, hatch, and I can type in add pick point, and if I can pick a point and it recognizes that, then these can be press pulled. So one of the similarities is if you can hatch it by using the logic, by using the pick point option, then you can also press pull it. Okay. The other things you can press pull are just a closed polyline. Okay, we've got some objects over here, some polylines and circles and stuff, and just basic rectangles. Okay, you can also press pull those. Okay, but it has to be a closed polyline, which is if we do our rectangle command, that is a closed polygon. Circles can also be press pulled more or less like an extrusion. Okay, And if you have a polyline that's not closed, if you work your way around, instead of saying close, you just pick the endpoint and hit escape, that is not a closed polyline. You have to click on that and go to the properties and go down here where it says closed and say yes. And then now it's a closed polygon, and now you can go in and you can press pull that object up to where you want. We'll see that. So closed polylines, regions, 3D faces, 2D solids that consist of coplanar vertices. Okay, we'll see all of these. All things that can be press pulled. We're talking about things that can be press pulled. Flat areas created by regular 2D geometry, like lines, arcs, and circles, or geometry that's drawn on the edge of a 3D solid. Okay, so we're going to see all of that right here. So let's just start up here. We can also use a block too. So over here I've just got a circle, got an arc, and I've got a line. I'm going to go look at that in my 3D view, maybe change over to be my cool conceptual view here. And now I'm going to use my push-pull, and I'm going to hover over that middle part, and I can push-pull that up. Once I do it, I click on it. I can click my grips. I can move it around. Have a look. Okay, I'm going to undo that back. Undo. Then I can say press pull. Well, maybe I'm going to press pull this part up. Maybe I'm going to press pull only this part up. Okay, shift middle mouse button. Okay, same thing over here. I've just got some rectangles. That's all these are, rectangles. Okay, I can say press pull, and I can hover over here, press pull that up. Is that cool or what? Okay, could have used this a long time ago. Or I can say press pull this guy up. Or I can say press pull this guy down. Okay, I can still go back, press pull, grab all of these, bring them up, and then I can grab that one guy that was in here. Shift space middle mouse to toggle through, grab my grips, pull that one up. All starting from just regular polylines. Shift middle mouse button, hover over here. We've got a couple of circles. Press pull. Grab the middle one. Press pull. Grab the outer one. Okay, that's just using regular 2D line geometry. Over here I've got a closed polyline. Press pull. Click on here. Bring it up. Now that I have that, I can say line. I can draw a line, and I have to make sure I snap to those endpoints because it has to be on that surface, which is where our dynamic UCS comes in very handy. And now I can press pull that up. Okay, using my dynamic UCS, I can hover over here and draw a circle on here. Then I can press pull, grab that, pull that out. Okay, now I can draw another circle on maybe here. Am I pushing it too far? Okay, press pull, grab that little guy, push it in. Okay, just like that. Shift middle mouse button. Okay. Anytime you want to go ahead, you can start to draw a line on a surface. Okay, regular line, but has to be on the surface. Okay, now that one I don't think went on the surface. Okay, let's just move along here. Shift middle mouse button. Okay, here we've got a polysolid. No problem. Go in, push, pull, hover over it, do what we want, etc. We've got a wedge over here. Well, maybe we're going to draw a line. We're going to make sure we hover over this to get our dynamic UCS working. And now I can say press, pull, grab that surface, bring it up. Okay, draw another line from there. Notice the surface is hovering. If I went to my, okay, when I go to draw that line, I type L. Notice that I'm picking the surface because my DUCS, my dynamic UCS on, I can't draw on that surface. If it is on, I can draw on that surface, and then I pick there to maybe that midpoint. Press, pull, click on this little guy, bring it out. It's really endless, the degree to which you can play with this stuff. Draw on any surface and press, pull the object up. Cylinder, same thing. Okay, as a cylinder, it's fine. If you want to poke a hole in there, maybe we'll go in and draw a circle. And then we'll hover over here to get that surface, draw our circle, click on there, do a press, pull, click in that little middle guy, take my snap off with my F3, drag down, shift middle mouse, I've added that in there. Okay, unlimited as to how you're going to do that. Okay, now the difference is if I list this now, it's a 3D solid and it has no, it just says bounding box. It doesn't say it's a cylinder anymore. This still lists as a pyramid, see solid type, but if I scroll back, this one, the previous one, doesn't show that information. It doesn't have this information, okay, because it's a hybrid type object. Now this is a block. If I list this, this is a block, and the block name is just block 1, okay, and it's made of lines, but guess what? Press pull, I can hover over that. Oh, I'm pretty sure you can, and grab that. So even 2D geometry that is part of a block can be push-pulled out. Okay, so blocks, 2D geometry drawn on top of 3D geometry, closed polylines, cylinders. Okay, this over here is a planar surface. Let's erase that. Draw a new planar surface we haven't done. When you draw a planar surface like this, and I'm drawing, I can use my shift middle mouse button here. Okay, make sure that your ortho is ortho is off. If you turn F8, if you turn ortho on, you'll notice it does weird things. So there's a tip for you. Planar surface, when you click on that, if you try to draw right now, I'm moving around, I don't see anything. If you take your F8, your ortho off, then your planar surface will work. Okay, now that we have that planar surface drawn over here, I can go down and use my push-pull, hover over it, bring it up. Okay, very, very quickly we can start to draw some objects on there where we can very quickly, you know, create some shapes of whatever we want. We can fill it and round these edges and stuff, all kinds of neat things with our solids. We're just talking about the push-pull. Okay, so lots of items. So let's just have a look at our recap over here. Okay, use your grips, turn on selection preview. Any area that can be hatched, it can be push-pulled. Make sure that, you know, it would have a 0 gap tolerance. Closed polylines, regions. Okay, if you draw a region, which is really a flat 3D object. Okay, 3D faces, surfaces, planar surfaces, 2D solids that consist of planar. So coplanar meaning on the same plane. Any flat area created by geometry, including 2D geometry drawn on top of 3D. So we're using our DUCS. Remember to take ortho off when you draw a planar surface. Okay, and then we can take a polyline and convert that to a planar surface by starting our planar surface, hit O for object, pick on here and enter, and that turns it into planar surface. And then we can go down to here from that polyline and we can push pull that up. Okay, we can also just push pull a regular old polyline. We can push pull an area within a block, because that would be hatchable. Okay, right? Remember when we are hatch rule, if you can hatch it with a pick point, you can push pull it. Okay, so there's some great tips, and I'm sure you can experiment with that and have fun with the new push or press pull. I keep saying push pull. Press pull command in our exciting new AutoCAD 2007 3D tool.